And, well, that starts it. That is the start of
Yep.
the 66th conflict. Colonials and Wardens, both of you, good luck to each other. We're going to follow where the action goes. And again, we think the major action is going to happen around those major cities. Linn of Mercy is going to be a key place to look towards. I'm personally really curious in Linn of Mercy about Fort Duncan in the southeastern side, but also way up in the northwest of Linn of Mercy, there's a way to get around Ulster Falls. And I think that choke point is going to be understated, but very, very important. Whichever faction can get the flank around that region. And Wardens control that flank currently. If they're able to push out from there, they might be able to get a quick hold of Linn of Mercy. And Liam, just like you were saying, if Colonials can push across the bridge at Fort Duncan, they can cut off Linn of Mercy just as easily. So I think that's going to be a pretty dynamic map right from the start. So concluding that topic, we do have all of our reporters going out into the field at the moment. There's not going to be a ton of immediate conflict. Obviously, the soldiers still have to get out into the field, get themselves geared up, prepared. There are lots of groups out there at the moment who are grabbing just the minimum amount of gear that they possibly can and rushing to the other side just to hold key points. There's lots of
Warden's already getting construction vehicles up at Callahan's Boot, moving them towards the garrison camp and Abandoned Ward. So, they are up and running.
As suspected, we would see things happening at Abandoned Ward. Alec, do me a favor and stay with that construction vehicle. I would love to see how successful that is.
Yep.
And as one of the Colonial reporters here, I will look at the same fight from the other perspective. I want to give a quick pitch out to one of our other Colonial correspondents who's going to be joining us now, Spencer Maro. Spencer, how are you doing today? Joining us here in the studio.
It's another beautiful day, another beautiful war. Hopefully we're looking for a repeat of last war. So we're just going to try to hold out as best as we can. Right now, the Colonials are here in the Wash, trying to go and trying to secure the region and get their foothold here in Drowned Vale at this time.
I see. So let's focus on Drowned Vale, because we've been talking about Abandoned Ward and we've been talking about Linn of Mercy. Let's focus on Drowned Vale for just a quick moment. Obviously, the Bats is going to be incredibly important. It being a middle region, but there are so many ways that you can get around the Bats just with you can motorboat in and land in so many different locations. There's so many bridges around there.
A lot of the waterways are also shallow, so you can actually take vehicles from point A to point B there. You just got to be careful about where you're stepping in, because sometimes you're going to look shallow, but they're really not. Oop, there goes your vehicle,
Exactly. Drowned Vale is a bit of a wild card. As we saw last war, nobody really expected an invasion there. In this war, we're not really sure how the fight is going to play out on that side. So what are you seeing at the Wash? You said a whole bunch of Colonials are gearing up.
They're gearing up and pushing. Right now I am on foot into the Baps now as we speak. I don't want to give away too much information, but I don't see a single Warden in sight. It's pretty much a cakewalk all the way through.
I see. So,
yes, sir, it is possible. I can get.
I'm sorry. The studio's actually telling me where. Yeah, go ahead, Spencer. We're talking to the studio for just a quick second.
Yes, sir. Coming right up.
All right, excellent. So I believe with that, Spencer does have a patch into some of the local chatter that's happening at the Wash.
There seems to be just a bunch of individuals here just pounding away, trying to go and secure the area here.
I see.
Oh, yeah, CV is coming.
Do you see any prominent regiments that are staging at that location? Obviously, you don't have to give away any plans or anything, and there is a slight delay to this stream for that very reason. But do you see any like big names over there?
Oh well, we have UVGE again out here in the BAPS, and I also see at least maybe 1 or 2 random T3C members out here. But that's what it looks like. I got eyes on 404, SOM, a lot of big names out here, just trying to go and secure it. And right now, we actually have the CB coming up to secure the area, and a couple gunshots in the background there.
Oh, so we're already seeing
just go
Wardens
to the
coming
bridges,
into
boys. Secure the
wash.
bridges.
That's what you're saying.
Wait a minute.
And that would make sense. Any
Spencer
push
Maro.
into the bats, if you're a warden looking at Drowned Vale, any push into the bats would come from the wash, and that's not going to be easy because there is the bulwark right there. So
get him.
the construction vehicle would have to backtrack in order to get into the bats versus Loggerhead or Bootnap or Singing Serpent, where the wardens can just drive straight in.
No, well, it's really not that bad. See, for Bootnap, they would actually have to come down and then go take this. I want to say this winding
Go
road.
Secure the bridges. Everyone go to the bridges.
While if they're coming at the wash, there's
take
actually
some of the
a breach in the wall where you can just literally come down on the breach, and then go.
Just make sure I have at
fence.
least 250.
Not
I
over
need
the
at
fence,
least
but over the bridge.
250.
It's really close.
I see. It's still going to be a race, and of course, it's not just getting the CV to the bats. It's defending that CV as well. There are absolutely going to be Colonials and Wardens not going to the wash or to any of the areas, but just securing the area around the baths. That's a front line I'll be personally interested in. See how that develops.
Oh, yes.
Audience, we're talking to the studio real quick, just as we're fixing
Lord,
some of
that's
the
really bad.
audio issues going.
Yep. I think I'm gonna end up firing my mic guy here.
In the background, Spencer, it sounds like we hear a construction vehicle. Is that right?
Yeah, we actually have a construction vehicle right now. The Colonials are actually securing the town hall as we speak by SOM's Mosin File. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Mosin File. He's actually going and
Keep me covered, boys. 100 more hits.
the victory
Their
point
lives mean nothing.
right now as we
This town
speak.
hall means everything.
Mosin File. Yeah, he's one of the prominent members of SOM. And that's actually really interesting. We only hear a little bit of gunfire in the background, but are you saying it doesn't sound like there's a lot of Warden competition there in the bats?
No, there's not a lot of Wardens here. In fact, I think I'm gonna just kind of sit in a hole here while all this gunfire is going on. Like, there's maybe, I want to say, like 2 or 3 Wardens that are just coming up here straggling around, but as far as any type of Warden force, there is none here.
That is really interesting, actually. I would think that there would be more.
Waldenberg.
There would be more competition there. It could be possible that the Wardens have gone for the wash more directly, or even East March more directly to try to take those out and control those regions. Forgoing the bats for now because, well, the Colonials could build up the bats. But if the route in is cut off, it doesn't really help as much.
Good job, guys.
Put it right here.
A pretty, like,
And lock it just
harmless
in case.
Logi town if it doesn't have any BMATs coming in. You can see that. We'll come back to you. I want to see how the bats develops, but there are other fronts that I do want to cover. I want to go over to Liam Porter, actually, at this point, who is all the way across the map at the moment. Liam, there we go. We got your audio patched in. You say you are in Linn of Mercy, from what you're telling me. Tell me what's going on over there.
Well, I just had to return to Long Wine real quick, but I'm on my way back down. Last I saw, there were a few Wardens and Colonials having a bit of a skirmish over the northern bridge in, I think it is Ulster Falls. Yes, Ulster Falls. There's a bit of a skirmish going on in the northern bridge of the Ulster Falls, and from what I can tell, it's mostly just rifles. It doesn't seem like there's much cohesion on either side. I think everyone was taken by surprise by the start of the war. but as far as I can tell, Wardens are starting to make some plays to secure Ulster Falls. But Ulster Falls has just flipped green. Ulster Falls is now under the control of the Colonials. The town hall is. The Wardens are just outside. It seems as if they're trying to make some gains. I've arrived on the front line. Unfortunately, I'm going to have a bit of difficulty making out quite what's going on since binoculars haven't been issued yet. However, there is a decent amount of fighting going on here, a surprising amount of fighting for the amount of disorganization I see on both sides. Wardens have taken positions behind a couple of the stone walls, and they're also hiding themselves in bushes. It almost seems like they're on the defensive here. They've got a couple of foxholes up. There's a large colonial group pushing across the bridge here. I'm going to need to relocate just for a moment. Pushing across the north bridge, right into the side of the Warden line. It almost seems like Colonials have taken the upper hand in this combat. It'll be interesting to see how the Wardens respond to this very, very early capture of the town hall, and I have a feeling that they're going to fortify up and make another push, a more concerted effort towards recapturing this from Colonial hands.
And just to emphasize, even though Ulster Falls is green, that does not mean it will stay green. It is an early capture, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be green for the long term. I say this even as one of the reporters that typically covers the Colonial side. The high explosive grenades are available from the start of the war. That is a change from the most recent conflict, 65. Right now, both sides can create more high explosive grenades, which are extremely effective against structures. And those tier 1 towns are very susceptible to high explosive grenades. Liam, like you were saying, if the Wardens can group up and get a good push and get close to town hall, it won't take many high explosive grenades to take out that town hall. Do you see something like that happening now?
Currently, I've attached myself to a small group that's moving around an undisclosed side of the town, and they are starting to make engagements very, very close to the town hall. There's a very large flanking maneuver going on here. Still having difficulty understanding quite what's going on, but both sides have taken up cover on either side of a road behind these stone walls, and they're using them as hard cover as they take shots at each other. It doesn't seem like there's any clear winners yet, but the Wardens do seem to have a slight upper hand in this one small engagement. Across the street, from what I can see, the Colonials are attempting to put up a watchtower, and I would assume that's in order to give them a better idea of what's going on here. It almost seems, I think the Wardens actually won that engagement. Now moving more towards the... I'm not sure quite what's going on at the moment, but
it's always going to be a bit chaotic. And again, you don't have to give away specific positions or plays. We'll report what's going on, and you can speculate. However, we don't need to be giving away because this is still a live broadcast, and a lot of Wardens and Colonials on both sides do very much appreciate the operational security, if you will. So I guess the key question there is for the Colonial and Warden side is those bridges. You said Wardens are gaining the upper hand. Are they controlling the bridges at Ulster Falls?
If you give me a moment, I'm going to have to pull out of combat here for a moment, just so that I can get in a secure place to answer you.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, since we're looking at Ulster Falls and that's a rapidly changing front, we'll come back to you. Let's look at the final front at Abandoned Ward. Both of the major towns on the side, at Linn of Mercy and in Drowned Vale, both of them have been first claimed by by Colonials. It's not going to stay that way, likely, as the beginning of the war is very unpredictable. However, Abandoned Ward is still neutral at the moment. We actually do have a Warden correspondent over there. Alec, we do have your audio being patched in. However, it is a tad loud, if you will.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll fix that up. There we go, that might be a bit better.
There we go. We'll have our studio adjust that as it's needed. But for now, okay, now we can hear your voice over everything else.
Right,
it sounds like a lot of gunfire. It sounds like a very active front.
Yeah, which is exactly what it is.
Yeah, what are you seeing up there?
No. So it looks like the Colonials had actually crossed the western bridge, whereas the Wardens are still fighting over the eastern bridge, and so it's really a two sort of choke points. But the Colonials do have abandoned ward. They do have the garrison camp there up, and the Wardens
they do have the garrison camp. That would have happened in the past 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, on my map it showed it for a little bit longer, but yeah, no, they do have it up. The Wardens actually had 2 construction vehicles up and running reasonably fast, but they seemed like they chose actually not to go into abandoned ward, and instead were setting up encampments and defenses on the northern side. So it almost seemed to me like the Wardens actually never even planned to go into abandoned ward, which I think is very interesting. It's a very interesting move.
That is rather interesting, but I can see the intelligence there.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at the moment as well.
Well, not just the intelligence as far as the map intel, but also the intelligence of the play itself. Abandoned Ward is important for many reasons. The island of Abandoned Ward itself does have the storage depot, the vehicle factory, the factory, but the northern side does have the advanced ammo factory. It's going to be the only one in the mid regions here. It's going to be extremely important. But on top of that, holding a defensive line at the bridges, building up defenses there, and keeping your logistics costs low by playing on the defensive, I think is a fairly smart play. Do you see, is that generally the feel that you're getting, or are they trying to push across?
No, they're definitely trying to push across. Obviously this is all, sorry about that, obviously this is all audio, but if you could see what I'm seeing, I'm just seeing a litany of bodies.
I am personally there right now, looking at the Colonial side. I can't exactly get across to where you are, but I do see lots of fighting happening at the bridge, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm at the eastern bridge at the the western bridge at the moment. And yeah, no, it's pretty hectic, I guess I could say. There are lots of backpacks, lots of drop supplies on the bridge, presumably from people who have sort of tried to get across and couldn't quite make it. But yeah, no, it seems like the another stalemate. Like the Warden's sort of sitting up on the northern side. I would be surprised if they were able to push across, if either side were able to push across very quickly in the future, if they can't sort of get it up in the next sort of 5 to 10 minutes. I think after that point, it would be the difficulty of setting up a front line on the other side will become exponentially increased.
I see. One specific thing about Abandoned Ward is that it is very, very cramped. Unlike some of the other bridges where you could set up defenses and foxholes in the area, Abandoned Ward has a lot of buildings and not very many places where you can build defenses. I think the northern side is a little bit easier to build defenses than the much more cramped middle island here.
Yeah, well, there's more space on roads, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So you're absolutely right in that it'll be much, much harder to take once defenses get built up, but I don't think many defenses can get built up in Abandoned Ward, just as kind of a flat point. Do you see many defenses over there on your side?
Lots of sandbags, foxholes, and barbed wire at the moment, mostly. There are people building things like watchtowers, but yeah, at the moment, it's just sort of sandbags, barbed wire, foxholes in the grass, pretty much what you'd expect, really.
Yeah, the very basics for
the
very beginning of the war, indeed. I'm curious, do you see, obviously Abandoned Ward is the main fight, but do you see anything from the eastern or western sides of the region? Do you see anything from the west, Tercel Pathway, to the east, Callahan's Boot and Brine Glen? Do you see anything happening over there?
It looks like the Wardens have pushed across the bridge at the Brine Glen and are trying to do the same at Callahan's Boot. It seems like there's a bit of a bridge fight going on there. But it does look like the Wardens have pushed across the bridge at Brine Glen. In the west, at Tassel Pathway, I don't have any intelligence at the moment. I can't really speak to as to what's going on there at the moment.
That's fair. So, I guess the question is, with all three of the major towns immediately captured by Colonials, what is the Warden play? What is the Warden's response to that? It looks like in Deadlands, pushing into Brine Glen and across Callahan's Boot to the pits to cut that off is going to be their play. Yeah,
it's going to be, the Deadlands is going to be about flanking. They're not going to, constantly attacking Abandoned Wood to me seems like smashing it into a brick wall, right? You're not really going to get anywhere, so I would be surprised if the Warden play was anything except sort of flanking around and even sort of cutting off Abandoned Wood by capturing, Sunhaven Gateway, getting the pits, getting the liberation point, just sort of come from either side. As to Ulster Falls, I'm actually surprised I didn't go Warden. I'm very surprised that Wardens didn't manage to pick that up, just due to the fact that the Long Line is a little bit closer in terms of actual road distance compared to the Colonial held hardline. As to that, I expect the Wardens actually probably will recapture that just by a hit-on assault, due to the fact that they've already got defenses set up on either road, so they're starting out in a good spot. Towards the Baths and the Drowned Vale, I honestly couldn't. I don't spend a lot of time down there. I really couldn't make a comment, but other than the fact that the Drowned Vale is a very, very easy place to defend. Because you got the bulwark going through the middle of it, lots of bridges, so just about the one sort of getting in there, as many bodies as they can, sort of overwhelming them, and I'm not sure if I can see that happening at the moment.
Well, I know someone who can see exactly what's happening at the moment over there, and we can cut over to that reporter real quick. Thank you very much, Alec, for... I do want to come back to you at least once more in the future to see how Abandoned Ward develops.
Okay, yep.
But now that the Baths has developed a little more, I'm looking at the map at the moment. Spencer, are you out there at the Baths?
Yep, and catching a couple bullets with my teeth.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yes, sir. I'll stream you in real quick.
Yeah, let's get that audio in. So what I'm looking at on the map at the Baths, now that watchtowers have come up, while I am at Abandoned Ward, I can see there. It looks like the Wardens have not abandoned the Baths. It looks like they've actually pushed across the bridge and are putting some pretty heavy pressure over there.
Yes, sir. They're coming in from the Singing Serpents as we speak. There really is no presence coming in from the far west. Not the far west. I'm sorry, the far east of Boot now. It seems like they're all just coming down from the north, and they're coming in pretty much waves right now. UBGE, and a couple, I want to say like random, oh my lord, that's gonna hit me. A couple randoms are coming in there to kind of fend them off, and so far everything has just been a real tug of war, just push and pull.
Compared to Abandoned Ward, the Baths, especially on that north side, is a lot more open to build defenses. And that's what I'm seeing just from the radio intel. It looks like the Wardens have actually built some defenses on the southern side of the bridge.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Can you get close enough to see, or is it too dangerous to do that?
Oh, well, you know about us collies, we care about our lives. Let's see, I see a couple foxholes out here, but that's just pretty much about it. I don't see any type of real defense. Oh my lord.
Oh, that sounds like it's a very dangerous place for you to be, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of just hugging a wall right here.
That's okay. So it seems like that fight is nowhere near over. And that's very exciting to hear. From the reporter's point of view, obviously, very bloody battles are kind of the norm for Foxhole.
Yes, right now it's just isolated up to the north. What I've seen is that a couple defenses have already been made by the Colonials to go and fortify their position to prevent anyone from really coming in.
I see. So as a curiosity, now that that fight has not necessarily stabilized, but the opening moves have been made, what do you see the Colonial side needing in order to secure that area? Do they need more people? Do they need more resources? Do they need more basic materials?
It would be resources, pretty much. Basic materials, small arms, and obviously just people that know what they're doing, I guess. I mean, we have UBGE here, but they can only do so much if they're going to sit there and babysit the town hall and at the same time try pushing up north in order to go and separate the Wardens from pretty much getting their hands on this town hall.
I see. So it's a little bit of everything is what you're saying they need. They need, excuse me, a few more people, but also they need more basic materials in there.
Yeah, it's just basic materials, your basic necessities from logistics, and a couple more experienced soldiers wouldn't hurt.
It's always going to be very tight with the start of a war, because the Logi machine, if you will, is only just starting, so there's going to be a major gap in between what resources are started with and when those first deliveries start coming in, and when those deliveries start becoming regular is kind of the next step after that. Anything else major to report on that front?
No, sir. Just all it is right now. I haven't seen any big names from the Warden side. It's just pretty much been randoms coming in, just trickling in, and just the Colonials trying to defend it the best as they can. Oh, please don't shoot me.
Quite a polite request. Well, even if they're not... Oh, excuse me, my voice is going. Even if they're not major regiments, it does seem like there is an organized push from Singing Serpents, and it's organized enough to get across the river. I'm very interested to see how that develops. We'll come back to you in a bit as that goes. We haven't heard from Linn of Mercy in a while. Liam, are you up there on the Colonial side of Linn of Mercy?
I have relocated to a different side of the conflict. The Wardens have actually opened two separate fronts pushing into Ulster Falls. It seems to be a concerted effort between Siege and 11 ERC. Just a few moments ago, the Wardens were right up against the town hall, and it almost looked like they had it for a moment, but I don't think they had the explosives on them to deal with it, because at some point they ended up falling back a good ways. Well, here we are. The Wardens have pushed back up to the short stone wall that they are using as cover to fire at the sandbag lines that the Colonials have just in front of their town hall. In fact, from where I am standing, which is a relatively safe place, mind you, I can actually see their town hall from here. I am within eyeshot of it, so the Wardens are very, very close to making this town theirs, although the Colonials are putting up a very, very desperate defense. As the engineers have started rolling in, the front line has gotten more rigid, less fluid. Earlier there were both Colonials and Wardens running through these buildings, holding positions in the buildings, and trying to keep the enemy from making advances on them. But as the engineers have rolled in and started putting up sandbags and foxholes, the front line has started to stabilize, and it appears that it is stabilizing with the Wardens on one side of the street and the Colonial Town Hall on the other. This is a very precarious situation for the Colonials, especially since as far as I'm aware, of course, keep in mind, I can't get intelligence from the other side. It seems like the Wardens have a much stronger backbone for their offensive since the Colonials rushed very, very early to get this town hall up. And once again, neither side has active defenses at this point. These are all inactive defenses that are being manned by the soldiers that are up here on the front line. It almost seems... Yes, it is the case. The Wardens have taken the town hall and they're now throwing high explosive grenades on it. Doesn't seem like there are any Colonials left garrisoned at this town. It seems as if the Wardens have actually... the Wardens might actually take this down. I'm sure you can hear all of the explosions going off. There it goes. Ulster Falls is now neutral.
I hear that, yeah, I hear the explosives, and we were talking about that earlier, how a quick take from the Colonials does not necessarily mean that they're going to hold it. These towns are going to be under contest. Throughout the entire, first, I want to say third of the war, first half of the war, who knows? And here we see it live. Ulster Falls going back neutral. It's now up to the Wardens. The ball is in their court to bring a construction vehicle there to rebuild it, as well as hold the lines to make sure the Colonials don't come back.
Another bridge. Sacrifice another bridge.
It seems like, and I'm sure you can hear it, the Wardens are starting to make a very concerted effort to secure that southern bridge and lock down the island completely. There are a couple of foxholes that are giving them some trouble. It seems like most of them have been taken care of, but considering the fact that night has fallen here in the Siva Valley area, visibility is very, very low at the moment. Just on the other side of the town hall, there are a few more high rock walls, and I know I've kept saying that, but they're all over the place. And in this instance, with the combat that's occurring right now, the Colonials have no good cover, and the Wardens are using the rock walls that are on the northern side of the town hall to fire from. A very, very stable position to fire from. Very nice area to take cover in. I'm taking a few shots here. Hold up.
Oh.
Okay, there we go. I'm in a more secure position. Sorry about that.
Yeah, keep yourself safe. The story comes second to your safety.
But it appears that this rock wall that the Wardens are using as cover is giving them a major advantage in this particular firefight. The Colonials can't seem to score any hits, from what I can tell. Meanwhile, them without cover, it almost seems like they're getting slaughtered.
It would seem, off the top of my head, that especially in those clustered cities, whatever makeshift defenses one can build, such as, stone walls in the corners of buildings, that's going to give infantry just the little edge they need. If you can get the angle on whatever you're trying to shoot at, that would be like using those natural defenses that are in the cities, or co-opting, maybe not natural defenses, but, broken buildings, whatever you could find to get a shot off. That's what the infantry is going to be prioritizing. So you're saying that they are controlling the south side of the bridge. Do you see Colonials or Wardens on the north side?
Last I saw, there were just a few Wardens holding the northern side of the bridge. The Colonials aren't really making a push there, so it doesn't seem to be much of a concern to the Warden faction. At the moment, I think their primary focus is actually setting up a perimeter around this fallen town hall and rebuilding it. I can see a Colonial CV. I'm not sure if they brought it up in an attempt to rebuild the town hall or if that's the CV that they had earlier, but it is currently smoking on the other side of the town hall towards the Colonial side of the front line, and it has just caught on fire. It is very likely that CV is not very long for this world. From what I can tell, and of course I've been trying to stay a good ways back for my own personal safety, but it seems that the Colonials, they were just on the other side of the town hall using it as cover, but the Wardens have actually pushed up towards the other side of the town hall. I can see them running back and forth. I've got Colonials advancing towards my left, using the rock wall as cover. They've attempted a flanking maneuver. We'll see how this plays out.
I see, yeah, I'm interested to see where that plays out. It seems like Wardens are gaining ground fairly quickly with a big push. You said it was 11 ERC and Siege that were leading those pushes?
Yes, as far as I can tell, 11 ERC and Siege are both here, along with BR and a new outfit that I have yet to see. And their only identifying symbol is the letter N. And from what I've seen, they've been operating as an infantry squad to a decent amount of effectiveness, and I have to commend them on their coordination.
I see. Yeah, that's new to me as well. I have not heard of them. We'll keep an eye on them, see how they do in the coming days. It's a very vivid picture that you paint there.
I'm going to attempt to get an interview real quick. Frick, you are current... Oh.
Guys, stop standing around here. Come on, keep pushing.
Apologize for that. Frick, you're currently live on the air with Liam of the PressCorps. If I may, do you feel like the Warden faction is going to be able to secure and maintain their control of Ulster Falls?
Well, we just took Ulster Falls back from the Colonials, so as long as we don't control the bridges, I'm not sure if we're...
The sound is coming in a little bit quiet. Maybe ask them the question again, because I don't think the audience heard.
We press...
Fake news, fake news.
Hold up, I need to rebalance my audio.
COVID ain't real.
Please stand by, listeners. We're fixing some technical issues here.
Alright, if you boost my audio, you should be able to hear them fairly clearly now.
But yeah, if we can control the bridges, which, you know, that's early game. It's control the bridges. If you control the bridges, you can control the towns.
Or we can control the bridges.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a hard fight here. So, we'll see if we can actually manage to get this built up, and then if we can control the bridges.
And if I may, what would you say was the most difficult aspect of retaking this town hall? Because I saw the Colonials captured it very, very early on, and the Wardens made a very, very nice and concerted push to retake it.
Collies.
No idea. I just redeployed from Deadlands where Abandoned Ward front wasn't going anywhere, so I came here, and as I arrived here, blew up the town hall. So I have no clue how we actually took it. I'm guessing I'm seeing guys from the 11th and Siege, so they might have been...
Stop standing around, pushing.
They might have been the point of the attack. Doing some work on trying to hurt cats around here.
We got it. Okay guys, protect the town hall. Come on, protect it, let's go.
Alright, well I appreciate your time. I'll allow you to get back to your duties as a frontline soldier. Good luck out there, my friend.
You're welcome. And always a pleasure talking to the press. Keep up the good work, boys.
Alright, and one more final development. It looks like the Linn of Mercy area has received a very significant amount of reinforcements. And I'm seeing a few Warden Navy members arriving. And Siege has I'm sure you can, well, it appears that intel is not widely available, so we'll hold off on that information until it is. But once that information becomes available, we will be the first to let you know. Interesting developments happening here in Ulster Falls, and I will return it to the studio.
Absolutely, thank you. You paint a really good picture of what's happening over there, and we heard at the very end of that mini interview, if you will, we heard a push, an organization coming from the Wardens. Not sure if that is to push across the bridges or just to get everybody refocused, redoubled in their efforts to secure the region. Yeah, we'll see how that develops over the next, well, I guess it's nighttime now, so we'll see how that comes back in the daytime. We're going to switch our focus now away from Linn of Mercy. That was some great reporting. Thank you, Liam. We're going to switch over to the Deadlands, actually, Abandoned Ward. We heard our interviewee over there say that he just came from Abandoned Ward, where it was a bit of a stalemate. Alec, I believe you're still there in Abandoned Ward, is that right?
Yeah, I am, and it's still a bridge fight, and still a lot of just running into bullets here for the Wardens. What I am noticing here, which I think is quite interesting, is there is a surprising lack of, I guess you could say, officers. A surprising lack of veterans from previous wars, and also a surprising lack of people in clans or people who are affiliated with certain regiments. I think that's a big part of what's going on here. Is a lack of experience on the Warden side means a lot of sort of just running into endless colonial bullets and banzai charges. I mean, I can't speak to what's going on the Colonial side, but I mean, maybe I assume it's more of the same. Maybe it's a little bit less, but it's a big lack of actual Warden officers and Warden veterans here.
I see. On the Colonial side, I can give a little more insight into that.
The bridge just went down.
I heard that.
Yep. That is the Eastern Bridge.
And I was actually about to say the Western Bridge has also been demolished. I'm not sure by whom. It would make sense that it is a Colonial effort just to keep the Wardens safely at bay.
Well, I saw a lot of Wardens trying to blow the bridge as well, so I'm not sure what the thought process there was for either side.
It could be that they decided, from what it sounds like the Warden play, maybe to just take the side regions as opposed to Deadlands. So cutting off if they thought the Colonials were moving across Abandoned Ward to the northern side, blowing the bridges would be a preemptive, halting measure for that.
Yeah.
So on the Colonial side, I do see a couple regiments here, but much like the Warden side, it's not a lot of major veteran presence on this side. I do see some members of Canium here. I do see some high-level members of CRG. They are a predominantly French clan, so the time zones are a little bit different for them.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's at least on this side, I see a lot of unregimented players on the whole. Though the Colonials are a little bit different. This is known to a lot of veteran players, but maybe if you're a new player just joining in with the sale and checking this out, there is a difference in the clan culture, if you will, between both factions. The Warden clans tend to be fewer, but much larger. When you see one, you typically see about 7 others nearby of any of the major clans that are in there. The Colonial clans, there tends to be more of them. Those clans tend to be smaller, and because of that, they have to work together instead of the Wardens, which a given clan can operate their logistics, their engineering, and their combat divisions within the same clan. Those objectives are typically split between different Colonial clans. On top of that, Colonials also have a higher population of unregimented players. It looks like we're seeing that play out live here in the Deadlands. We don't have a lot of regimented players on this side either.
I actually think that's going to be very, very interesting for the fight. Just to see what is going to happen. You know, what thought process either side's going to go through. You know, what actions they're going to take without some sort of overarching clan hierarchy sort of directing people. I think it's actually going to make the fight almost more organic. You know, people just going where they want to be and attacking where they think they should be. Not sure if that's going to be a positive thing or a negative thing, but I think it's gonna change it up quite a bit with all these you know, fresh recruits to the war, unregimented, unaffiliated. It's gonna be very different. I think it's gonna be very, very different from last war.
I agree, yeah, and there's a soft implication here as well, since we don't see a lot of those veteran players, like we said, on both sides. It implies that those veteran players have looked to other places. It seems that Linn of Mercy is one of those places where there is an organized push from the Warden side, which, by the way, as a quick update for those looking at the map in-game, it looks like the Wardens have indeed taken Linn of Mercy. It is now under Warden control. As a Colonial reporter, I don't have intelligence on exactly what's going on there. All I know is that the region and the town hall itself is very blue.
Oh, for
So
sure.
there we have it. Yep, just an update from that. Back to Abandoned Ward. Alec, you were saying earlier how you saw an organized push out of Callahan's Boot and out of Saltmarsh to go across the bridges. How is that looking now? Can we get an update?
Yeah, just looking at the intelligence, as I'm still situated on the north side of Abandoned Ward, it seems like there has been limited Warden infantry that has crossed the bridge, but it's unknown how far down they've gotten. There isn't any defenses or anything built by the Wardens on the pit side of the bridge, but I haven't seen any Colonials crossing it, so I assume that it's either destroyed or under Warden control. But I'm unsure of how far into the pits they've actually managed to push. But I do think that getting that bridge up and running for Wardens, make sure they got the other side of the shore under control, I think it's going to be quite crucial for them.
I think it's going to be pretty crucial as well now with both Abandoned Ward bridges destroyed.
Yeah, for sure.
The only real option is for them to flank. And it's not obvious on the map, but there are other ways into Abandoned Ward. On the southeast side, there is a footbridge. You can't get vehicles across it, and I believe one side or the other has to construct it. But you can get across Callahan's Boot onto a footbridge and into Abandoned Ward if that bridge is constructed. I don't have intelligence on whether or not that. I don't know if that bridge is constructed or not, but that is an option that the Wardens could take. Alternatively, they could just go straight for the pits itself and cut off whatever support the Colonials have coming in.
Which I think will be what the play is. I think the Wardens will push down from Callahan's Boot into the pits. Capturing that relic base for them, I think, is #1 priority. Just due to the fact that it basically, by capturing that relic base, it halves the roads that the Colonials have that go directly into Abandoned Ward from the south side, right? It means that they can only really supply it. Well, obviously they can still supply it, but it just means that logistics coming from the east will have to take sort of a detour around it.
I see, yeah. And I'm trying to get over to the pits actually right now because there is there's a lack of intel on the Colonial side as well. Or at least what intel I have is delayed. It's not coming from the map, it's from hearsay from different players on this end. I'm trying to run to the pits to see if I can get an update on the Colonial side. But you're saying they were pushing across the bridge over there? They were getting a foothold?
That's what it looked like to me from the limited intelligence that we've got. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And for the listeners at home, a lot of this information is, especially in the early war, going to be a little bit dated, and it's going to be a little unsure by us. That's going to be natural, and there's a little bit of uncertainty from all players because we don't have watchtower coverage everywhere. We don't have established front lines yet. They're developing at the moment. We don't have the full lines of communication open. So a lot of what we're talking about is speculation. Please don't take it as like this is exactly what's happening. What we see is what we see is groups of players. It's hard to tell without being in their direct like radio communications how organized those pushes are. So with that said, I'm here at the pits, and it looks like on the Colonial side there. We have it split into two forces. The infantry here are split into two major groups. One of those groups is focused on building over here. The other group is focused on holding the front line, and it seems a little more of a desperate hold on the front line. I am here at the bridge between and Callahan's Boot. Wardens are indeed on our side of the bridge. Oh, and there's me getting shot at. But Wardens have indeed crossed onto the pit side of the bridge, and just behind the front lines is a rather desperate group of combat engineers that are trying their best to build up hasty defenses as fast as they can. It's a little hard to see. Like I said, I got shot at a couple times, so I'm having to pull back to a little bit of a safer location. But But it seems that there's more builders here than there are infantrymen. But that means that the defenses will get up in time for a better defense. I'm sorry. Yes, that's how I want to phrase that sentence. Whether the defenses will get up in time for the Warden offensive to come here and be a proper defense remains to be seen. It looks like there are a lot of blueprints and just the basic outlines of defenses being made here. That information will be known only over the next couple minutes, maybe over the next 24-hour cycle of this war. I'm sorry, a 24-hour cycle of this day. We'll have to come back to this front in the future and see where it ends up. There's not really much going on here. A lot of the colonial engineers on this side tend to be sergeants, corporals, privates, and people on the front line are a little more experienced. I'm seeing lieutenants and captains up there defend them. I'm not sure if that is by design. I don't see many regiment tags over here, but it does seem to be organically how this scene has developed. Alec, do you happen to be over here at the Callahan's Boots Warfront? Or are you still over at Abandoned Ward?
No, I'm still at Abandoned Ward, but I can make my way over there if you want. It's gonna be a bit of a walk, that's all. But I'll.
No. Stay at Abandoned Ward. Do you see any defenses being built, or do you see any build-up of forces
absolutely.
at Abandoned Ward?
Not necessarily a build-up of forces, but a big build-up of sandbags. It's yeah. I mean, obviously with all the concrete here, it's very hard to dig a foxhole on a limited earth. So yeah, lots of sandbags being built. No, doesn't seem to be any sort of strategy with the sandbags other than just building them quite high. There's no structure being built. I guess you could say no sort of planning. Just building sandbags where they can at the foots of the bridge for cover. Yeah. Obviously watchtowers going up, some storage boxes.
But just the very basics of
Yeah. And I mean, that's what's available at the moment as well. Like, they can't really build much more.
Yeah, there's certainly no bunker bases that are going to be built up in the plaza up there.
Oh, no, obviously not. Yeah.
I see. And down here at Hope's Causeway, the bridge in between Callahan's Boot and the pits, yeah, it's still more of the same story. I think in Deadlands, that's going to be where the story develops of where this front line moves. It seems that the veterans for both sides are in different locations, but they can very easily and very quickly switch over to this front, either side of the Hope's Causeway front, and push across the river. You might hear a little bit of the gunshots happening at the moment. It's Wardens running around these defenses that they're building, just taking whatever pot shots they can. It is a bit of a desperate offensive and a desperate defensive on this side. Lots of bloodshed, though, no matter what, on each side.
Yeah,
so that's Abandoned Ward. Well. That's Deadlands at the moment.
Yeah. Very bloody, and not a whole lot getting done by either side. So, seems like a lot of fighting for nothing at the moment.
A resource sink, for certain, if you're a Logi player kind of looking at it.
Absolutely. Logistics will be, yeah, they'll be not too happy. But, you know, what can you do when you're new, unexperienced, low ranks? They're going to run into colonial bullets, just as I'm sure the same as on the colonial side. But
a bit, indeed.
Yeah. No, I think yeah. That's it from me at Abandoned Ward.
Just about, and that's a bit for me at the pits. So we're gonna take one last look. I'm gonna pitch this back over to our first person, Alec over here, Colonial correspondent, reporting from Drowned Vale. I'm sorry, I meant Spencer. I said Alec, I believe.
It's okay.
I meant Spencer there in Drowned Vale. Spencer, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, are you still at the baths?
I am. It seems that the Wardens are actually pushing a little bit harder now, and We do have a
You guys
couple
look
of
like
them
you're
coming
dragging
in
around your
from
big
the
dicks
far
over here, man.
east, across the bridge, which the Colonials had actually went.
All right, boys.
Oh lord, they
Where's the enemy at?
that bridge right now. There's
Oh, he's at that
guys
wall.
fighting.
Raider, no!
Oh lord, I need to actually get back real quick. With the lack of logistics coming in, because I'm pretty sure that right now that the logistics of the Colonial side, they're all scrambling, trying to get everything put together and to ship it all out. It's just the problem right now is that it's not getting to where it needs to go.
Keep it wet.
And
I saw it.
a lot of areas are actually running out of their basic materials, their small weapons, throwables. Well, we don't have throwables now, but later. But there's just primarily small weapons, BMATs, and shirts. Shirts are really key.
Hell yeah,
in
Mikey.
these small skirmishes in the beginning. And
Fuck yeah,
without
Mikey.
that,
Somebody get this man
it's
Mikey
gonna
to
end
come in.
up going being costly at the end of the conflict.
Absolutely. And rolling the scope back a bit, since we're talking about logistics, for the Baths fight, the Baths itself does have a factory, but it's not constructed at the moment, so it is just a town hall. So there the question is, where does the logistics come from? For the Wardens, they have a bit of an advantage because they do have closer factories over in Endless Shore. It's just half a region, maybe one region away. Marbin Hollow does have a refinery to Drown Vale's north, but that refinery is also half supplying Deadlands. That refinery is going to be very, very taxed.
Why they destroyed
On the Colonial side, the closest factory is going to be in Umbral Wildwood. It's the Foundry. That is also going to be split between the Deadlands and Drown Vale. The issue for the Colonials is the closest factory to Drowned Vale is going to be Blemish, which is a whole 2 regions away. And the Blemish being one of the major logistics towns, it is a powerhouse. It's got multiple factories. It has the mass production factory, which orders are likely in right now, but even for both sides, we won't see the results of the mass production factory for several hours, maybe half a day at least. So the 2 factories in that region are super, super taxed. They're having to supply the Deadlands and Drowned Vale, and it is a long drive for them. The short end of the analysis there is that Logi is currently favoring, it seems, just by drive time alone, seems to be favoring the Wardens. Spencer, on the front line, do you see that the Wardens have more supplies overall? Does it seem like they have like more HE grenades, regular grenades, rifles, etc.?
Right now, it just looks like they have a lot more arms than the Colonials do at this time. I haven't really seen them come across and try to build anything as of yet. Just right now, the Colonial logistics are pretty much spread thin, and it's costing them really big without people being able to go and drive and whatnot to go and deliver these much needed resources across the fronts. Granted that the Blemish isn't that far of a drive away. It seems like it's not going to look up for the Colonials here in the Drown Vale. Not only is the conflict going on here at the Bass, but there also have been reports in Splinter Pens that there's actually been a bomb, which is a bunker base, or at least an underground bunker base, not that far from the steps of that relic base.
Oh, you're saying that there is a Warden base built up near Splinter Pens. That's the word among the Colonial faction.
Let's go.
For those who are listening and can't look at a map, Splinter Pens is on its own semi-island. It does have a road that goes near it, but one side of that road is a bridge, which is a choke point. Just south of Splinter Pens, the waters kind of come in a little bit to form a second choke point, and to the east, as that road goes into Coal Drifter Stead, again the landways narrow on that road, making yet a third choke point. Also, there's no flanking opportunity since that is the edge of the border for this conflict. That is an entire attack lane, if you will. It has very little flanking opportunity without going into the water one way or another. A bunker base built there is big news for the Colonials. Big dangerous news for them, but big news. So, Spencer, you were saying that Colonial Logistics was having a tough time getting in. Are you implying that there are partisans on the road? Wardens cutting off logistics coming into the bats?
The occasional partisan that maybe come down by a boat just to go and stop somebody on the bridge before they come in. But as far as heavy partisan activity, no, there really isn't. It just seems like that the Colonial Logistics have just been spread way too far, coming from all these different fronts right now. That I'm pretty sure they're still supplying Linn of Mercy. They're also supplying Deadlands and Drowned Vale, and without some type of organization, it's not going to be a good start off to the war.
I see. So the story overall in Drowned Vale for the Colonial side is the logistics battle, much more than the actual infantry battle here.
I'm sorry, come again.
Does anyone have HE grenades?
Oh, I said, it seems like the story for the Drowned Vale on the Colonial side is winning the logistics battle more than the infantry battle. They do have the town hall, but securing it, especially with regular logistics, that's going to be the trouble they have.
Yes, at this time, I think that they have automatic defenses now at this time. However, how long is that going to last without any type of I guess like shirts or whatnot, or even basic material, not basic materials, but I mean basic armaments. We don't know how long that's going to last. And that sounds like a couple of HE grenades being tossed at the town hall as we speak.
Who goes up there?
So that logistics battle might be lost sooner than we think.
A lot sooner.
Boys, we have no logic.
I see dire moments for the Colonials in the bats.
Go kill them
up in Linn of Mercy as well, which is still blue.
I can't. It's a barge. He's got
an abandoned ward. Green at the moment. The bridges on the northern side going into the plaza are both been destroyed. They've been knocked down. It looks like a lot of the fight there has moved over to Callahan's Boot and the pits. The bridge in between there, Hope's Causeway, still an active front. And all around, it seems like the veterans on both sides have decided that Deadlands might not be the best place to go on day one, but to flank around the sides and secure those side regions as fast as possible. It is the start of day 2 in the war. It's about midday, but we've covered for about the first 24 hours of the 66th conflict here in Foxhole. And it's going to be really, really tough to figure out or predict or see where the war is going to go from here. But we do have to cut off at some point. We can't be covering this war forever. The story from here is in the hands of you all, the players, the listeners. Time to get out there and make a difference in the war. This has been PressCorps Foxhole Flash covering the start of the 66th conflict. We're going to be signing off for now. We'll be coming to you with more live interviews as the war continues. This war will obviously have a Zero Dark PressCorps edition later in the war. That usually comes up towards the end of the war. And in between, there are always different stories that we are making, writing, developing as the war continues. They might not all be live with interviews and such on this radio channel, but we also have writers here in studio, people who create different newswire editions, releases, all of those things. We do accept stories from the players. If you have a regiment that has a story that you want to tell, if you have your personal perspective on a very influential battle in the war, we do take those submissions and writings. It's here in the PressCorps Discord. Again, if you didn't hear me before, if you click on the icon in the Twitch channel that you see, you'll be taken to the Discord that we're currently in. For some of our segments here, you can join a call queue and join us here in the studio live. If you want to be a subscriber and catch the news releases that we get, that is also an option for you. If you just want to hang out and watch the conflict from a distance, maybe you can't always be there in person, but you still want to keep up to date, our Discord is going to be the place to be to catch all that information. Anyway, I want to give a thank you to all of our reporters on both sides. We have Alec, we have Liam, and we have Spencer, as well as our studio microphone. The name of it goes there. Everyone that's behind the scenes helping make this happen. I am Everett Way. Thank you all very much for joining us here on PressCorps Flash, Foxhole Flash. We're signing off for now. Good night, everyone. Good fight. And stay foxy.